Good morning, my friends. Today, it's another nice snowy day. It's like just a nice little bits of snow falling from the sky. Very nice to see. Overall, though, feeling pretty good today. Had a nice family dinner last night, so I'm pretty happy about that. And I have another one today. Uh, Last night was with my dad. Tonight I have it with my mom. So overall, it's pretty good birthday week, so to speak. Um, so today I'm going to be talking a little bit about something that's a little bit sort of out of date at this point, but it's still relevant, or it's increasingly relevant lately, which is Bitcoin and subsequent cryptocurrencies we can talk about as well. Um, but I'm mainly going to be talking about Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the most popular one, or at least was the most popular one. It hit at 20,000 in November last year. Now it's crashed all the way down to 3,000. And the funny thing is that a long time ago, not a long time ago, like 2016, like summer 2016, I was living at this apartment, further east in Montreal, and there was a Bitcoin office literally right next to my apartment. And the thing was, it would show the price of what the conversion rate between, I think it was the Canadian dollar, it might have been the US dollar, I wasn't really sure. They just said, amount and then the dollar sign, so that could have been Canadian or American, I'm not really sure. But at that time, when I moved in, it was at $500. And I saw it like increasingly go up throughout the summer to like 600, 700, 800, and I was like, whoa, like this seems pretty cool. Maybe I should invest in it. Of course, I never did, which is kind of I guess a stupid idea, but it's not really important because it crashed anyway. Even still, if I had invested in it then, I still would have been ahead now than if I hadn't bought it, right? So even though it's like really low now, I still would have had like a 600% return rate, right? Which is crazy in 3 years, 2 years, not even 2.5 years, which is a crazy amount that doesn't happen very often. And Bitcoin's one of those weird sort of things that's happened lately that's kind of just, I don't know how to say it. It's just not, it was a weird phenomenon that it was just all price action. There wasn't anything to do with fundamental analysis in terms of stocks and stock analysis, which I find was very interesting about it. It's all just 100% price action, just euphoria, just human psychology. There was nothing absolutely incentivized to buy it. There was no value to it, right? I mean, it labels itself as a currency. The thing about a currency is, first of all, a currency, usually on a fiat, whatever is pronounced, system, is controlled by a central government. It's issued by banks. It's, there's inflation. There's certain amounts that are created and decreated. The thing about Bitcoin was that it was decentralized. It was completely private, and there was a fixed amount of Bitcoin that existed. And this goes for like any cryptocurrency. So it basically just existed as a stock, which is the craziest thing about it. It was nothing really. It had no value, so it was like a currency, but it wasn't controlled by anything. It just existed. It was like a commodity almost. It was like gold or silver, except those things actually have value. They're physical things. Bitcoin is literally nothing, which is kind of amazing. This phenomenon, and I think that's one of the main reasons why people sort of latched onto it so fast, was because it was so outside the box in terms of anything we've sort of experienced before. Mining for Bitcoin was like a cool thing about a year ago. I don't think there's many people doing it nowadays, but Bitcoin's just sort of like increasingly going down. People are still like, they're still delusional. Like they're still like thinking like, oh, it's gonna go to 1 million, by next year, like we're all gonna look really stupid looking back and seeing it at 20,000 when it's gonna be at 20 million in 3 years from now. Like it's already hit the point. Like it's already gone into the mainstream. It's not gonna keep going. You need people to actually buy it in order for it to be of value. You can't just expect it to. The reason it went to 20,000 was because it entered the mainstream market. It was like everybody was talking about Bitcoin at one point, and at that point, it's like, all right, you can only go so far. There's only so many people that can actually be interested in, and then people just don't give a shit. They're not gonna come back to it, um, you know, 2 years down the line and think that, oh yeah, this is a good investment. Because first of all it's doing is going down. 2 years ago, all it was doing was going up very slowly and very steadily, but it kept going up. And they try to compare it to like this old crash from like 2013. 2013, nobody even knew what the fuck Bitcoin was at that point. It was like this weird, like underground criminal sort of like internet money that you used to like buy drugs on Silk Road or something. It wasn't like this mainstream thing. This wasn't a thing that Bloomberg was talking about every 10 minutes and thinking about opening up their own current crypto index, which I don't even know if they've done it yet. I think they just gave up because they realized it's a stupid thing to invest in. And that was like the real problem, is that it's marketed as a currency, but it doesn't act like a currency does. A currency is supposed to be stable, right? It's best case scenario, you have like the US dollar, which sort of inflates at a very, very steady pace. That's the whole point of a good currency, is that it stays pretty much at the same value for a very long time. Bitcoin went from $500 to $20,000 in worth in 1 year. Okay, that's insane. That's deflation at its purest point, right? We're talking about like in the Great Depression, there was deflation. Probably, like, I think, I don't remember the numbers, but let's just say it was like 10%. This is deflation at like 10,000%. All right, it's ridiculous. Like, it's actually insane how much Bitcoin went up in value, and you can't use that as a currency. And we see how fast it's plummeted at the same time. It's incredibly volatile. People want to say that it's like a perfect system for a decentralized currency. It's going to change the world. It's like, well, it hasn't. Like, you need to have someone regulating it. Like, you think that money is just going to magically become useful in transactions just on its own. No, you need like someone to well maintain it, to make sure that there's enough being produced, there's enough inflation, enough deflation, enough banks utilizing it, so that it doesn't just blow up out of control, which is exactly what happened. It didn't become a currency, it became an investment. And since it's an investment, it has no value. There's no reason for it to like go up in value. I invest in Amazon, let's say, for instance, like 10 years ago. There's a reason why it went up to where it was, because it's a company and it makes money. It's like very simple. Bitcoin doesn't make money. It just is money. It's nothing. The root of money is that it's just a means of transaction. It's not actually anything. It's like energy. It's like electricity. It's like I'm going to invest in electricity. It's like, oh, you mean like a power plant? No. Like, I'm just gonna like buy electricity and then sell it later. Like, it doesn't make sense, And people make money in the forex market, but that's different. That's like transactional. It doesn't work the same way. And also, Bitcoin is just so crazy in terms of volatility. Like, currencies don't change in a matter of thousands of dollars per day. They change in like fractions of a penny per day. This is the size we're talking about when people want to equate, like, well, people like invest in currencies and that's kind of the same thing. It's like, no, it's very, very different. Bitcoin is a currency and always will be. So, and it's failed drastically as a currency. No one will be able to use it as a currency because uh, even if you do get Bitcoin, first thing you're going to do is you're not going to buy anything with Bitcoin. You're going to either wait for it and hope for it to go up in value, or you're going to immediately transfer it to the US dollar, because the US dollar is an actually well maintained currency that's been well maintained for the past like 50 years. I mean, you have to like really appreciate how amazing the US dollar is. It has some problems, but in terms of the steady rate of inflation and how just how good it's maintained, how well it's maintained. Sorry, um, you just can't compare that to something like Bitcoin, which is just absurd. So anyway, that's all I really have to say, and I hope you have a wonderful day.